So you're thinking about building in the North Georgia mountains and you don't know where to start? In this video, I'll uncover what this process generally looks like and even talk about a couple of builders up here. Hi there, I'm Trish Rodriguez with Higher Elevations Real Estate, local Georgia real estate agent with eXp Realty. We have personally been considering building a home up here, and I thought it would be helpful to go over some things that we have had to consider and what the general process looks like. Everyone probably approaches this process a little differently based on your needs and your time frame. But we are considering this build now or starting it within the next couple of months. So I'm going to go through how we have approached it. Our first step in the process was to talk to a couple of local builders. And this was more just like phone conversations that we had or emails where we just kind of put a couple of things on paper or, had a couple of general guidelines of what we were looking for, and just opened a dialogue of communication with the builders. This gave us a general guideline of a very wide range of pricing, anywhere from $200 to $300 a square foot. Now, of course, that varies widely because it depends on how custom and how fancy you're trying to build. The second step to our process has been to have an initial in-person meeting with a couple of builders up here. The builders that we chose to have in-person meetings with were ones that are of more of a volume nature. So they do quite a bit of business up here in the North Georgia mountains, and they have floor plans that you can choose from. So they are a little less custom. You can make some modifications to possibly some of their floor plans if you want to kick out a wall, a foot or two here, and make some different arrangements in some of the floor plan inside the actual footprint of the home. You can do some minor changes like that, but it's not going to be a straight out custom home where you're coming in with your own floor plan or you're having an architect draw your floor plans. The two builders that we decided to sit down with that are local up here had very similar processes. They were also a slight bit of difference between the two of them. The first one that we met with, we sat down and had one of their floor plans already in mind that we wanted to kind of talk a little bit of pricing through. We knew going into it what the general starting price of that floor plan was, and we asked just a few questions to help guide us into what a final price might actually look like. So we asked questions like, how much might it cost to add a basement to that floor plan? What kind of grading cost might we be looking at? And of course, grading is very variable because it's going to depend on the lot that you choose, how many trees it has, how much of a slope it has. The more sloped, the steeper the slope is, the more expensive it's going to be to grade. So that is a piece that is going to not be able to be told to you until you actually have the piece of land that you are ready to build on. We also asked about some different upgrades. What were the things that came standard in their floor plans? If they had an additional upgraded plan that we could choose from that would already include some of the upgrades that we wanted, like a backsplash tile, like a tile backsplash, tile master bathroom shower, hardwoods or like a LVP throughout the main floors. All of those types of upgrades are the things that we were kind of asking about. The first builder that we spoke with, they do have an additional upgraded plan that you can choose to do. The cost of that was quite significant. In the 30% markup range from the current pricing that they had on the floor plan that you were choosing. So if you're looking at building a $400,000 floor plan, when you do that upgrade, you're basically looking at adding an additional $120,000. And when you start to itemize the different things that are included in that, it may or may not be worth the additional cost. So that would be something that you would want to really nail down and see what it is that you're wanting to upgrade on and see whether or not it is worth that additional cost to go ahead and do the upgraded package, or if you should do the upgrades that you want individually. The staff that we spoke with there was very helpful. They seemed very knowledgeable, and they were willing to answer as many questions as they could in terms of giving us a rough idea of what our pricing might be. If we wanted more specific pricing, we actually needed to go in and have the floor plan that we absolutely wanted nailed down with all of the upgrades that we want, our entire wish list. We could go in there with our entire wish list on that floor plan and say, hey, can you go ahead and run some pricing on this and let us know what our final price would be, not including the land and the grading, and they would have been able to do that. We have not yet gone that additional step because we are leaning more towards the other builder that we ended up interviewing as well. The second builder that we spoke with is also another volume builder where they have particular floor plans that you can choose from. The amount of floor plans that this particular builder has is less than the first builder that we spoke with, but they also have some perks that the first builder does not offer. One of the perks that the second builder offers is the way that you can finance the build of the home. With the first builder that we spoke to, it is straight construction loan. You come in with your own land, you do a construction loan in your name, and you're paying the interest-only payments throughout the build. You have all of the responsibility. With the second builder that we spoke with, they actually have a program where they can offer to kind of take on some of that financial responsibility for you. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to go through a build process with them. The second builder that we spoke with had their own particular floor plans. Again, their floor plans were not as many as the first builder that we spoke with, but their floor plans are still very, very good, and you can still tweak them some. And we have found for our own personal needs that that the floor plans that the second builder that we spoke with offers, we've found like 3 floor plans that would work for us. The second builder that we met with was actually extremely knowledgeable and extremely helpful, and we were able to actually leave their office with a good understanding of what our final price might be. Now, it was not a complete final price because we still had some upgrades and things that we would want to build into it, but they were able to give us a rough idea based on the lot that we were explaining that we would want. Based on the basement that we would want, we were able to get a rough estimation of what grading might cost. We were also able to say we want this particular floor plan and we want it to be fully finished out or partially finished out on the basement, and they were able to give us pricing based on those things. So once we left there, we really had a good understanding of what we might be spending by the time that we even added in some of the upgrades that we were looking at. The third step in the process of trying to build a home would be deciding on the builder that you want to use and choosing a floor plan. This is important because you are choosing a floor plan that you want to go on a piece of land. If you decide now, before you buy that piece of land, that you want a house with a basement, then you know that you need a level or sloping downward piece of land. You cannot go, or you can, but it'll be more expensive and it will cause your house to be positioned a little differently maybe, but you cannot go and purchase a piece of land that slopes upward and expect that you're going to be able to have a basement on that piece of land. That is just not how it really works. So if you know now, before you buy that piece of land, what kind of floor plan you're looking for, then that puts you in a better position. So again, step 3 is going to be deciding the builder and deciding on the floor plan that you want. Step 4 to the process and step 5 to the process are going to be kind of interchangeable. So that is going to be finding the land and signing the contract with the builder. So in our case, we have not yet signed anything, but we are definitely 99% leaning towards this particular builder that we have decided on, and we kind of know the floor plan. We're still deciding about the floor plan, but we kind of know the floor plan that we want. So we know that we're kind of in that position now where we can start looking for the land that we think will fit the floor plan that we've chosen and get ready to sign the contract with the builder. So the way that the builder that we are choosing kind of works is that we could go in and sign the contract and find the piece of land kind of simultaneously. So we could go in tomorrow, sign the contract with them, and then start looking for the land and have them come out and do a site evaluation on the land and make sure that it's going to work right before we actually go under contract on the piece of land that we want. Or we could potentially go and find a piece of land, go under contract on that piece of land, and then sign the contract with them and have them come out and do the site evaluation. As long as we're doing it all within the proper time frames, then we'll be okay either way we do it. So that's why I say it can be kind of worked interchangeably. Probably the way that we will move forward will be to go ahead and sign the contract with the builder and decide on the actual floor plan that we want, so we know exactly what we're looking at, and then we can work with them. Obviously I'm a realtor and I can find the land myself, but they do have someone on staff that can help you find the land as well. And if you're working with a realtor, they're completely okay with that. I actually have a client, shout out to Jason and Allison. I actually have clients right now that are doing that. They worked with that builder, and the builder was looking for land for them while I was also helping to do what I could to help them find the land that they were looking for. They found the piece of land that they wanted. I helped them go under contract on that piece of land, and then the builder came out and did the site evaluation to make sure that the land was going to work appropriately, and to help them figure out the house placement for the land. And all of that was being done during their due diligence. So, like I said, probably the way that we will do it personally is we will go ahead and sign the contract with the builder and then start working on finding the piece of land. And we'll work with them closely, have them come out and do the site evaluation to make sure that the piece that we're choosing will work with the floor plan that we want, and that it will also not be too terribly costly on the grading. And then once we find that piece of land and they do the official site evaluation, then they will be able to let us know for certain what our grading cost will look like, and they will be able to build all of that in. And then we'll have another meeting for some selections on the home, for the final selections of, cabinetry, flooring, paint colors, things of that nature, so that they can start the process. Now, up here, when you are building with a builder like this, whether it is one of the volume builders, like I have just spoke about 2 of them up here, or if it is a more custom individual builder, you are still looking at the same timeline. Builds up here in the mountains can literally take 9 to 12 months. And the reason for that is because you are working with an individual builder. It is not a builder inside a neighborhood that has already owned all of the lots and you're just going in and picking out the floor plan, and they've already started all of the site prep and permit pulling and all of that. No, you are starting from the absolute ground up. So you're going to have all of your permits that are going to have to be pulled. You're going to have to start all of the site prep. Everything will be done ground zero. And for that reason, it takes a little bit longer. There are some builders out there in other parts of the country that can do a build in 4 to 6 months. Here, that's just not really the case. So once you've gone through all of those initial steps and you've decided on the builder and the floor plan, and you've decided on the piece of land and you're under contract on the piece of land, then your builder can start doing some legwork while you're going to closing on the piece of land. And once you've actually closed on that piece of land, then they can actually start doing some site prep, and they can actually break ground on your land and start the build process. So that is essentially what the whole build process looks like up here in the North Georgia mountains. As always, if you are looking to buy or sell real estate in the North Georgia mountains, I would love to help you. Please give me a call, send me a text, write me an email. You just got to reach out. I hope you have found this video helpful. Please check out my other videos all about the North Georgia mountains. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.